To the other episode. Let's
on?
go.
How you talking opinions, but where your facts at? I think it's time that we pull up and do a fact check. Home again, we calling you to the circle. I'm tired of hearing the bull. I'm questioning your discernment, yeah. Like how you question the people that's really earned it, the people that's really working. Type of stuff for the circus. I only move with a purpose.
Yo, welcome to the Bob Woodwright podcast. We're here with another episode. What's going on, brother?
How you doing? You good?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. Yes, everything's going good, man. We here getting ready for another great episode of content. We're gonna go ahead and bring one of our favorite guests on with us real quick. We got let's see here if I can get him on. You know what? I'm not gonna be able to get him. Well, I am gonna be able to get him on audio. Let me see if I can get him on audio. Hey, Slim, are you there, man? Slim, are you there? Can you hear me? Hey, come in, Slim, if you're there. I'm going to give you one more shot. Come in, Slim. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what's going on? There he is. What's up, man?
What's going on, Slim?
What's going on, guys? Y'all all right?
Oh,
Yeah, man. Bless, brother. What about yourself?
I ain't complaining about nothing. Good to hear y'all voice, man.
Good
Good to hear y'all.
well.
Yeah. Going into the holidays, we wanted to get you on early. We know you're going to have a lot of good things to talk about here. And, it was a great week of football, especially for a guy in your situation. We're going to talk about that situation later.
Oh, jeez.
But real quick, hang tight for me real quick. I want to do one quick thing here before we get into actual conversation here. I want to go ahead and thank the people that are paying the bills. Sean P. McKee's Lawn and Pressure Washing Service operating out of the Birmingham, Alabama and surrounding areas. Please get in contact with Sean P. McKee and his team at 470-599-0296. That's 470-599-0296. Get in contact with Sean and his team for lawn mowing services, lawn renovation, seedling, and flower care, pressure washing, rubbish removal, and landscape designs. Everyone in the Birmingham and surrounding areas network. Get in contact with Sean P. McKee and his team at 470-599-0296. And it is what it is. Yeah, man. Great week of football, and everything was going really well. Let me see if I can get the right graphic up here, because we're going to go right into our actual first story. We already have Sean on the phone here, and I don't want to lose any momentum. Hey, Sean, let me ask you a quick question, Slim. Have you paid attention? Did you pay attention to the Ohtani deal?
Yes, I did.
All right, real quick, for those who may not have paid attention to it, and Kyle, I know you're always on top of it. Do you have the specifics of that deal that you can run across, run out for us real quick?
Specifically, Ohtani was just offered a $700 million deal, all guaranteed from the I want to say it was the LA Dodgers. So $700 million for 10 years. So if you do the math on that, that's $70 million a year for 10 years. But there's a twist on it. What's the twist?
A big twist. You know, the guy, I think, was very smart. He's only going to take $2 million of that $700 million contract for the first 10 years. That's a $20 million total within the first 10 years of the contract, and he deferred $680 million of that overall contract.
I got a question for Slim.
Run it.
Slim,
Yeah,
could you live off $2 million a year?
surely, man. Living off them. Surely, I can find a way.
Especially with knowing you got $680 million coming 10 years later.
That's like the Bobby Bonilla or the
Yes.
the Bobby Bonilla deal. Or,
It is without
the Allen
question.
Iverson deal.
Yes.
What was that deal like?
Bobby Bonilla. I don't know the specifics of the Bobby Bonilla deal, but if I'm not mistaken, it's culturally became to be known as Bobby Bonilla Holiday. Slim, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Bobby Bonilla was a former player for the San Francisco Giants, maybe.
The New York Mets.
Was it the New York Mets? Okay.
Yeah, he's playing for the Mets.
Okay, so they gave him a contract, and part of that contract is every year on a particular date, and I don't know exactly what that date is, but I know it's called Bobby Bonilla Day, because even now, I think he's still getting it. He gets $1.9 million every year. Mind you, this guy's been retired for over a decade.
1.9 mil?
1.9
Yeah,
mil.
maybe 20 years.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and he's still getting paid from that actual contract. So that was a great contract from his team. And I think someone mentioned, I don't know if it was you or if it was Slim. Did you mention Allen Iverson and his contract?
That's the same thing.
His contract was because Allen Iverson made some questionable decisions.
Wasn't it Reebok?
I think so. I think it was
That's
his Reebok
right.
contract.
That's right.
He made some
That's right.
questionable decisions as far as what he was willing to do in order to maximize his earning potential during the league. He was a man of principle. He stood on those principles, and by standing on those principles, he missed out on a lot of money that he probably could have earned while playing in the actual league. I think you all would agree with that.
Right.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So having management in his corner that backloaded one of his actual I think it was his endorsement
Yeah, I
deal
think
with
it was
Reebok. And now he's starting actually to start reaping some of the actual financial reward
'Cause I wanna
for that
s-
actual contract.
I want to say it was on like his 40th birthday is when he got majority of that contract or something of that nature, where it's just
Yeah.
like he's getting like a huge lump sum of money. I don't know the amount of it, but I think it might have been like 30 million or something like that. But don't quote me on the number, but it's somewhere along those lines where on his 40th birthday, they're going to drop that in his bank account.
Yeah. So real quick, just for a little bit more backstory on this Ohtani deal, $68 million a year is going to be paid out between the years of 2034 to 2043. We're in 2023 right now, so that means 20 years from now, this guy's still going to be collecting $68 million, for a year in salary based off this contract, and that's not even counting any contract he may earn after the 10-year window of this deal, because he could always sign another contract. When he signs his next contract, he's just really going to start reaping the windfall of this contract.
Right.
So it's crazy.
I think it was a genius idea though, because if you think about for most, I want to say I guess most Americans, average Americans, and even probably around the world, I mean, $2 million a year. I mean, if you can't live off of that, then I don't know what you're doing. But $2 million a year should definitely should be able to survive. Be sufficient for a family.
Oh, let me check you on that though, real quick.
Go ahead,
'Cause
talk to me.
I think what a lot of people are missing is that contract is just going to be paying him $2 million a year. Ohtani is right now in the greatest earning potential from an endorsement standpoint that he's probably ever going to be in. He's a young two-way talent. He's a generational talent, probably the best two-way player the MLB has seen since Babe Ruth.
I don't
That's
know.
what people are saying. I mean, I'm just
In a
telling.
premium market. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
I'm telling you what people are saying.
What about Aaron Judge?
No, he's better.
Oh, he can't pitch.
He's
He doesn't
better.
pitch.
He's better. Now, here's the thing. Right now, this year, this playing year, how much would you guess Ohtani made in endorsements, on average, or approximately total? How much do you think he made?
In a year?
A quick number.
A quick number, let's say
40
$15 million.
$40 million. He made $40 million in endorsement dollars just this year. Does he really need all of that contract? If he's making $40 million in endorsement dollars, and here are some of the actual companies he's affiliated with that we're aware of:
Okay.
New Balance, Fanatics, Topps, and plus
Top's the grocery store?
no, Topps the playing card.
Oh, okay.
The playing card, the play cards, and other companies in Japan. Mind you, he has a whole country that is
Behind him, in a sense.
yes, and they're baseball fanatics over there. Japan is probably, they're on par with some of the most energetic and excited about baseball players. So he's making a lot of money here with endorsements, but he's making significantly more money abroad with endorsements as well. So because he makes so much money in endorsements, $40 million this year alone, he didn't need that money. That's why he's going to be making that endorsement money right now, and he can set that other money up on the actual back end. And also, by doing it this way, he deferring California taxes for a number of years, because California taxes are ridiculous. So by him backloading it, he gets to defer those actual taxes as well. I think it was a brilliant decision.
Yeah, and then being able to pay for the LA Dodgers, I mean, that's going to be crazy. Just the exposure that he's going to get there, even though he's getting exposure where he's at. But I mean, like, you're playing in LA. I mean, that's a whole
a
other
major
spotlight.
market.
Yeah,
It's a major market.
yeah, definitely a major market. One of the biggest baseball markets there are,
But
if you think about it.
What I do like about this is that we see the size of this contract. Like, imagine 10 years from now, the size of a contract. I mean, I can't wait to see the day where we see somebody signs a $1 billion contract.
It's coming. It's
I
coming.
mean, think about it. Like
Yeah.
in the NFL, we had Patrick Mahomes. He signed the what was it, 550?
Yes.
Or was it 550?
I think it was 550.
But I mean, in the NFL, so I mean, like I'm saying, 10 years from now, I mean, we're going to see $1 billion contract actually be signed by a major leagues player, which is going to be insane.
Another thing that people are going to talk about with this contract is the position that it puts the Dodgers in. By him signing this particular backloaded contract, it allows the Dodgers to have a buttload of money to invest now into making the Dodgers a dynasty, or potentially a dynasty in the near future. So backloading that contract gets his money still, but allows the Dodgers to actually still put a team around him, which is like one of the major drawbacks for most times when a player gets a huge contract. They get the huge contract and the team is not in a position to put other players around them, and then you'll see a player just making a lot of money but wasting away and never really achieving the team success that all great players are known for.
Do you think other players will take note of this and try the same process?
Absolutely. And I was going to that. If players are not paying attention to what he just did with this contract, and how they can set themselves up, especially if they have other forms of income coming to them in the means of endorsements and things of that nature, then they're really missing the ball, especially players toward the end of their career.
LeBron.
I say that because of LeBron.
Did you guys hear about some of the stipulations he had going in while he was doing the negotiation the process?
Oh, no,
the negotiation process. Basically telling if anybody heard about it, he wouldn't come to the team. It was real 007 high top priority secrecy.
Oh, wow.
That's smart.
But just to give you guys another perspective, this is how I thought about it. One thing about it, I noticed these contracts are getting up there towards $1 billion also. But just to have another perspective, let's say I signed for $5 million. Honestly, Uncle Sam after taxes, that's really like $2.5 million. That's really like only $2.5 million.
Oh yeah.
So you think about a guy signing for $60 million. Really, it's only $30 million, bro.
Yeah.
For 10 years.
Without question.
So in reality, that's really only $3 million a year. When it scrolls at the bottom of ESPN, such and such a signed 10-year deal, $280 million. It sounds right. It sounds like, oh, that's a lot of money. But instantly, you got to cut that number in half.
Without question.
So yes, $700 million sounds good, but yeah, he's smart because he's seeing that taxes gonna cut that in half.
Without question.
So he has to get the maximum number out of the employer as he possibly can. If you ask me, that's just another perspective. But everything that you're saying is totally correct. He's gonna take advantage of the market. If it was me, it's a business decision. I would defer my profit basically to later in my career because I'm going to make the money outside off the field either way, like you said. So everything both of you guys are saying is right on point.
I have another question. So with them, paying this much money, how many World Series do they need to win or if this, I guess this $700 million is just a waste of money? How many do you think would suffice for that amount of money?
I mean, I think he definitely has to bring a championship or help bring a championship to the Dodgers. But I don't think he has to win 10. I mean, if he gets 2 championships.
These are the Dodgers, though, man. The Dodgers are, if you think about them, they're not really known for winning championships. They're known for being present in the playoffs. And that's one thing I can say they try, as long as they're there, giving themselves a chance. If they've been in the World Series the last couple of years, been deep in the playoffs, been in the playoffs. They just want to stay relevant. And this deal right here is going to keep them relevant.
Without question. I mean, they're big news. It was a big news deal. It was a splash. The way that it was structured was brilliant. And I was about to bring LeBron James in this conversation because I think it's worth noting. LeBron James, toward the end of his career, is still playing great basketball.
Definitely.
If I'm not mistaken, LeBron James is in the top 10 in scores, if not the top 15 maybe, at the very worst case scenario, I think. So although he's an elder statesman, a lot of teams may not want to give him a lengthy contract. But if you structured a longer contract with very little upfront and make it backloaded, similar to what Ohtani did, you're going to open up the number of teams that's willing to actually take him on at his advanced stage. And that also opens up the ability for him to see his son get drafted, if that actually happens, go to the whatever team at a discounted rate, and then backload the actual contract. LeBron's getting money all types of different ways. He don't need the money now. He can backload the contract and make it advantageous for teams across the actual league to actually bring him on.
And I think another thing we should think about is that opens up room for other players to jump on the team as well, because like we were all saying, that opens up the cap space for that team. So these super teams might be something in the close future.
Yeah,
if not already.
They got to win. They got to win. These super teams getting all these deals, these guys getting, like you said, usually when they get this check like this, they usually fall off some kind of cliff and you never hear about them anymore.
Yeah.
So, the Dodgers are really gambling. The guy can't even play until like 2025, and then you don't know if he's going to be pitching the same. So you really just basically investing into a hitter that's been playing DH, so he's going to have to play full time. So it's a lot of pressure on the
So he can't play until 2025?
No, he could play, but he's probably not going to
yeah.
pitch until 2025.
Right,
He's only going to
right.
play on one side, the actual ball. And that was questions that some people were saying. Since he's kind of coming back from an injury that's going to prevent him from being able to pitch for the foreseeable future, is it going to be worth it if he's only playing on one side the ball?
How can you swing and can't pitch? That doesn't.
It's the
okay.
mechanics, man.
Yeah, okay.
Baseball mechanics.
Okay.
They said, and he did it toward the end of this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He sat himself down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
was
didn't
playing
pitch, but he
DH.
still was swinging, and he was still knocking the left off the ball.
Right.
Just clearing the bases. So,
Yeah, he was.
sometimes
And he got $700 million in the midst of injury.
exactly.
Listen,
So that guy right there, I mean,
guaranteed.
he's definitely a generational talent, and it was a brilliant business move. And I expect to see more moves like this across all the leagues in the foreseeable future. We'll see if that actually comes into fruition. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next actual topic here.
What you got?
Let's talk about Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe was announced as the #1 most entertaining sports analyst by Complex in their top 25 rating recently. I think it came out just this week. And Shannon Sharpe being #1, I guess my first question I would ask either one of you guys who would like to step up here is, were you surprised that Shannon Sharpe was the #1 person on the actual list?
No, I'm not surprised just because of how sports stories kind of revolve around what Shannon has to say about things. Like, people are always dying to hear what Shannon has to say. It doesn't matter what really topic, but mainly in sports, people want to know what Shannon has to say. And even with his Club Shay Shay show, people want to know what's going on with that outside of sports. So it's just like he's kind of across the board in a sense. So, and he's entertaining. Everybody, for the most part, loves to hear what he has to say. Most of the time when you're watching him, you're getting a good laugh. So I'm not really surprised by it. So, and then he's on the #1 show right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you exactly, Kyle. Basically, like you say, he's on the #1 show when you wake up in the morning, and he's culturized, man. If you think about the culture, Shannon Sharpe be at all the events. He be at front row. He's very knowledgeable. And he's humble. You get a humble feeling from him. So, he's built the relationships, and like I said, I totally agree with you, man. Who else could be there?
He's relatable as well.
I thought it was going to be Stephen A. Smith. I still thought Stephen A. Smith I think Stephen A. Smith probably has won that crown for a while now. I know this list doesn't come out every year, or if it has, I haven't really been paying attention to it.
I want to say this is the first time because I know Complex did the hip hop list with Joe Budden being on the top of that one, but I think this is Complex's first time doing an actual sports media list.
Yeah, I mean,
I say this. I ain't got no complaint with that. I ain't got no complaint with Shannon taking that.
No, I don't have a complaint about it. I just I didn't expect it. Because remember, Shannon was with Skip Bayless. That went down in glorious fashion. And now Shannon transitioned real smoothly, real seamlessly over to First Take with Stephen A. Smith. So Shannon Sharpe was already, on the rise, and he went with the guy who I think a lot of people thought would be in that #1 or #2 spot.
You would have to.
Yeah. So and now you put both of those guys together, and First Take has just been extremely entertaining, specifically on the days where they work together, which is Monday and Tuesday of each week. Shannon Sharpe has Club Shay Shay, and then what's really been blowing up as well, a lot of people are talking about it, is Nightcap with Unc and Ocho.
Yes.
Slim, you been paying attention to that?
Yes.
I think they're hilarious. I think those two guys are hilarious on this show.
It's good to hear pros give you backstories of times of when they played, give you insight on how it is to be a pro, and just to sit back and see two black men reflect on their career. It's hilarious. It's a very entertaining podcast. I enjoy it.
And each show has a different tone to it. Like First Take is probably more professional on the sports side. Club Shay Shay is a little bit more relaxed, but it talks about sports and just cultural pop media. And then Nightcap with Unc and Ocho, that's kind of like, just trash talking really at late night, and I love it. I mean, it gives a different side. All three shows give different sides.
I was saying the Club Shay Shay, that gives it's kind of like a talk show in a sense where it's, like, I don't know who has a good talk show, but it's kind of like a cool little talk show interview type of show rather than like the actual the typical sports show. And then, like you're saying, the Nightcap is really just two fellas hanging out, just chopping up. So I think they're definitely good dynamics.
A nice brand. A nice brand.
He's got to keep his foot on the neck of the actual media as of right now. Like, he's got to keep his name high and high while he can. Everybody's feeding into the Shannon Sharpe. Like everybody loves Shannon, so you got to try and stay on top as as long as possible.
And Unc and Ocho made a really, really big move. I think if not today, then yesterday. And Slim, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they added Gilbert Arenas. It's going to be joining Unc and Ocho on Nightcap starting tonight. I think that was a brilliant move. By the way, Gilbert Arenas also made the number 7 spot on Complex's Most Entertaining, which he came out of nowhere. Very entertaining show. He always has controversial yet sometimes very accurate opinions and points that he makes on his actual show. And let's keep it honest. We were talking about this off air real quick.
Right.
Sometimes outlandish statements are what's needed in order to grow a show, and he has absolutely no problem making some of the most outlandish observations that I've heard. Saying that Hakeem Olajuwon somehow is robbing people by teaching big man skills is wild to me. I don't agree with that at all. But it garners a lot of attention, and people were paying attention whenever he made the statement. So adding Gilbert onto Nightcap with Unc and Ocho is going to be the great move because we're nearing the end of the actual football season. We're going to be going into basketball and adding a basketball mind to that actual lineup with Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharpe is perfect because now they can just continue to have credibility on the show around the next prime sport season, which is going to be the NBA season.
I love seeing stuff like that because it kind of reminds me of when Marvel and DC, they do like a crossover episode where it's just like you get these great entities from two different different spheres, and they come together and do like one good thing. So I think it's a dope idea for Shannon and all of them to get together and actually do an actual show. So.
Hey, let me say one thing here real quick. When I was researching like all the different people that were on this actual top 25 list, it seemed like everyone has like a day job and then they also have like a night job. It's kind of like Clark Kent, I'm Superman in the night, but I'm also Clark Kent working in the newspaper.
Right.
Like Shannon Sharpe has First Take, which is his official job, but then he has his own thing with Club Shay Shay. He has his own thing with Nightcap. I mean, they own those things outright, I would assume.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I noticed that, too, because I guess at some point you learn the ropes of the environment that you're a part of.
Yeah.
And to me, for these guys to see the type of brand that they've created for someone else, they just go along and say, if I've created this brand for someone else, I can probably create this same brand for myself, and that's what a lot of them are doing.
Exactly.
And it's becoming very successful.
Absolutely, exactly. And in addition to that, they're marketing their own shows on ESPN.
Oh, definitely.
Man, back in the day, that was
that
so
would never
taboo,
happen.
man.
Yeah.
You could never do that. If you had anything, that was called the plug. No, that was going to be censored out, that beeped out. You could not plug your own show like these guys are doing.
Yeah.
It's almost like insider trading.
Yeah.
But the thing that we're seeing, what we have to realize is that these guys are, they're in the negotiating table with these contracts. Like they're actually putting in these contracts where it's just like, I have free reign to do pretty much what I want.
Exactly.
But, I'm bringing you my likeness on the show, so I need something in return.
Exactly.
So I think it's dope, and I'm glad these guys are getting these, these solid contracts where they're able to have the freedom to kind of do what they want with their likeness. So
yeah, don't get it twisted.
I think it's perfect.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love the fact that they can do it. But the one thing I want everyone to be aware of, we could be seeing the end of ESPN. I don't know how ESPN is going to continue to compete because you have people consuming their sports media in so many other different ways now. They're setting up unless they start getting some kind, unless they start
I think
getting
that's going to be the world in general.
Yes, unless they start investing into these actual shows, like, hey, let me buy 20% of your show, let me buy 20% of this show, and they just start being venture investors in some of these podcasts that are kind of taking over. I don't see people just consuming their sports media in the traditional way that they've always done it.
I don't know. I feel like ESPN is kind of like McDonald's, where it's just a trusted source. It's
yeah.
just like, it's like the go-to.
Yeah,
it's gonna always be there, but it's 8 billion people in the world right now. They got the attention of 8 billion, with taking up 400,000 viewers. Then you have such a podcast taking up 1 million viewers. It's going to become a fight for viewership.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of those slices of those pies getting taken out of there. That's all I'm saying. But we'll
Yeah.
see how it all plays out. I mean, we're a long way from that really becoming problematic for them. If they were seeing problems with it, then I don't think they would be letting these sports media personalities so freely and openly market their own sports shows, which is going to take eyes
Agreed.
away from the ESPN program and the ESPN
Agreed.
network. So we'll see how it goes. Let's move over to the next actual storyline here. Hey, man, let's talk about Prime in Colorado real quick. It's not that I'm always trying to find a reason to actually talk about Coach Prime, but Coach Prime is just making some moves here that require some conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes recently got a commitment from Jordan Seaton, a 5-star offensive lineman. He committed to the Colorado Buffaloes for the next season, and it's exactly what they need. Coach Prime has been talking about needing to strengthen up the line. That's where the biggest fight takes place on the actual field, and they lost a lot of those fights this season. And that's where the focus needs to be. I know we talked about earlier how they had some skilled players decommit, and like I thought then, it's really not a priority.
Right.
Skilled players, they can get skilled players. What it's hard to get is those big guys to hold down the line for your
foundation.
offensive and defense. So to see them get the number one O-line prospect to commit, I think it was huge. You have any thoughts on it?
No, I definitely think it's dope. Shout out to him for actually committing to Colorado. I think they just got to get more pieces around him. Yeah, he's a 5-star athlete, but, I mean, he's not going to be able to hold off 4 guys by himself. So I think they still need to just build upon this, use this as a selling point. Well, I won't say selling point, but, yeah, in a sense, use it as a selling point to these other O-linemen that are out there who may be thinking about getting in the portal. We got the number one we got the number one offensive lineman, I guess, recruit coming out of high school. But also, I mean, like you were saying before, I want to say it was last week or the week before. I mean, you got all this camera time now. People are going to be watching over here at Colorado. So come over here, bring your talents over here.
Yeah. You have any opinion on that O-line committing to Colorado, Slim?
Oh yeah, man, much needed. I think that Shadur, I think he had like something broken his back or something, man. He was the most sacked quarterback in NCAA this year, man. But yeah, he was. He missed the last couple games with an injury. Like I said, I think he broke his back.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he broke his back. So yeah, shout out to that offensive line commit.
So Jordan, now commits have already proven, especially commits this season have proven a commitment really doesn't mean much. They have to actually sign them dotted line and actually attend the school. I don't think this guy's going to back out on Coach Prime. I think it's going to be an opportunity for him to come and obviously have a big impact early, even in his freshman year. And then Boulder is a great place as far as visually. They have the support of the city and the alumnus, so they're going to have enough money in the actual program to make it worth his while. And this kid, although from my research says he is originally from D.C., he attended high school in Florida. And I don't think there's not going to be a coach in college football that's going to be able to out-recruit Deion Sanders in the state of Florida. No. I think in the state of Florida, Prime will have the upper hand. I'm not saying other teams won't get players out of Florida. I'm not saying that. But I think that more than often, Coach Prime is going to be able to get players that otherwise would not want to leave big-name conferences like the SEC, the ACC, Big Ten, stuff like that. He's getting someone to commit to go all the way out to a Pac-12 school, knowing that the Pac-12 is dying, but they're going out there because Coach Prime is out there.
In your opinion, what do you think like I was saying earlier, the selling point is with Coach Prime? Like, why is the a 5-star, the top 5-star recruit O-lineman going to Prime over these other schools?
I have an easy opinion on that. Slim, do you have an opinion before I give mine?
Oh yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Connection.
Say it again.
It's the connections.
Yeah.
I'm going to his school because he knows he got the connections that I need to get to where I need to go, and that's how he's selling me to get there.
And not only is that, he has the connections, but he also has the cachet and swag. High school football players love swag. Like this Coach, and once again,
well said, R-Dog. Well said.
Yeah, I debate with my a number of coworkers about Coach Prime. They say Coach Prime he has antics, quote unquote. I even have one coworker who say he's a buffoon. Like he has buffoonery going on. I said, I could see how you do that. Right. Must be the money, this and the other.
Maybe
Coach Prime has always been.
There's buffoonery, but him in himself is not buffoonery.
I don't think so at all. I think it's business. You cannot. Coach Prime can't compete with Alabama on history. He can't compete with Alabama and Georgia on tradition versus the Colorado tradition. He can't compete with money. Because although Colorado does have some money that could be thrown at their players, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State
they got
has
some
more.
bread, yeah.
He can't compete with USC on location. Colorado is beautiful, but Southern California is better.
Yeah, I know
He
that
can't compete in all these different ways. The one thing he can compete with is he has more swag than any other coach.
Facts.
There's not going to be any coach. And young black talent, young black talent, they are attracted to that energy. They're attracted to someone who entered the league the way that they envision themselves to enter into the league. When Coach Prime came out of Florida State into the league, the Jerry curl, he said it was dry. It looked wet as hell to me, but Coach Prime said it was dry whenever he came into the league. The gold chains, all this stuff. This is how these kids envision themselves making that transition over into the league. So when they know someone did it and did it at a high level and is arguably one of the best players to ever play the game of football, if he's sitting in your living room, you're going to pay attention.
No, facts.
If he's talking that talk, you're going to pay attention. And then when you see the way that the entire sports media community gravitated all the way down to the Boulder, Colorado, the sports world did not go to Alabama like that. They didn't go to Georgia like that. They didn't go to Michigan, Ohio State like that. Everybody was in Boulder. Everybody was in Boulder at one particular point in time. It was like you had to make that actual cycle
He
through.
was voted Sportsman of the Year, wasn't he? Coach of the Year?
I know about Coach of the Year.
Sports Illustrated?
I'll have to look into it. I didn't see it if he did get it. But I just know
Yeah,
that.
he did. He definitely got it.
Okay, all right. Well, those kids see that, man, and they want that energy. They want to be around that energy, and that's why they're going. And he's going to consistently be able to recruit using that.
And I think another thing that we have that I realize about is that, why not go hoop with somebody of your own skin tone,
Exactly.
I think that's a dope thing about it too, because it's like a lot of times that we look into the league, the NFL, the NCAA. It's a lot of white coaches out there, but now it's just like we have Deion out here now.
Yeah.
Why not? Shoot, I'm gonna go hoop. Not hoop, but I'm gonna go ball out with Deion.
Yeah.
It's a black coach. Let me go hoop with this. Well, hoop. I keep saying hoop. Let me go ball out with this black coach. So I think it's really dope. But like you're saying, he definitely has a swag. He definitely has the light around him. He has that energy around him that that players are definitely just going to gravitate to. And even players seeing that in highlights or when he was actually playing in the league, Deion is the same person he was in the league then, and he is the same person that he is now. So I just think it's dope that he's able to that his essence and his his persona is able to be seen by many players, and players are wanting to gravitate to that and actually play with him and actually being able to pick Deion's brain, like definitely a Hall of Fame player, and there's one of the greats in defense and just in football period. So being able to have that and actually going playing with this guy and actually learning from him, I think
he's a legend.
Yeah,
like some of these other people, they're legends at coaches. Prime is a legend as a player. He's and it does add some value when he's sitting in the actual living room talking to parents and talking to a player and trying to sell them to come to Colorado. Let me say another thing, because you made a very valid point, and I don't disagree with that point at all. Although Jordan Seaton is a 5-star offensive line commit and the number 1 O-line commit, and he's going to be going to Colorado on the Buffs, he can't change everything by himself, but he doesn't have to. And here's why I say that.
Why you say that?
Prime is already in the portal. Prime is already in the portal. Prime has already there was recently a defensive lineman from no other than Alabama who announced that he is considering an offer that Colorado extended to him to actually come to Colorado through the actual portal.
They need that.
One of Colorado's offensive coaches also is a former Alabama coach. So this offensive coach at Colorado already had a relationship with this kid. His name is Anquin Barnes, and he's already on his social media outlets talking about the idea of going to Colorado. So Colorado, this kid is not going to have to do it by himself. Remember, if I'm not mistaken, when Coach Prime actually took the job at Colorado, he really didn't have a lot of time to do recruiting. I mean, he did have time to go into the actual portal, but he did not import and bring players over, but he did not have a full off-season schedule to aggressively recruit and go through the entire process.
He said he just bring his Louis luggage with him.
He's gonna have more time, and that's already starting to pay off. This kid, Jordan Seaton, is the highest ranked player Colorado has ever been able to recruit. And once again, that's all because of Prime. All because of Prime.
5-star. Because wasn't it Travis, wasn't he just a 4-star? I won't say
No, he was 5-star. Travis Hunter?
Okay.
Travis Hunter was 5-star.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but remember, Travis Hunter, he was 5-star. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was not. Wasn't he? not only was he 5-star, but he was the number 1 player overall. This guy right here is 5-star. He's the number 1 offensive lineman, not the number 1 player overall. But Travis Hunter was recruited by Jackson State, so Colorado doesn't get credit for it. This is the number 1 player that Colorado themselves were able to actually recruit.
Okay, got you.
Hey, Slim, you have anything else you want to add to that storyline before we move to the next one?
Oh, no, man.
All right, great. Let's go ahead and move forward here. Let's talk about my man Zion here. I don't know if you guys been paying attention to Zion
a little bit.
But I'm just start right in it. Is Zion's weight a problem?
I think it's only a problem when he's not, when he's not balling, based on what what his team is saying. From what I see, I mean, when he's balling, it's not an issue from the outside looking in. But like you're saying, like in the media, I mean, it's becoming like they put out a press run or whatever you want to call it, where it's just like, yeah, we're going to need you to lose some weight. We're going to need you to get your weight under check. But this press run didn't come out when, he was, averaging, 34, 35 PRA for, 2 weeks straight. That was, that wasn't anything of question. So I think it's, just an agenda of the team where it's just like, if you're not doing what you need to do for this organization, then we find things that nitpick at you about. But if you are, then it doesn't matter what you do.
All right.
To a certain extent.
A lot of the actual heat that he was getting, though, wasn't actually coming from within the team, at least from what I've seen. It was a lot of people on the outside looking in. You had Charles Barkley commenting on his weight. You had Shaq.
Was live watching the game. If you watched the game, you saw it.
Yeah. Shaq commenting on his weight. Stephen A. Smith commented harshly on his actual weight. And then, of course, the fact that they lost by so many points against the Lakers and the Lakers and LeBron in the in-season tournament semifinals didn't help. Because it just looked really bad. LeBron being a 38, 39-year-old man running around being in peak physical condition. And then you have Zion. And by the way, before we actually go too far on his weight, let's actually talk about what that weight is. Zion is currently listed as 6 feet 6 inches, 284 pounds. Obviously, he's known for his speed and his leaping ability. So even though he's carrying a lot of weight, the boy gets off the ground. He's always has ever since we saw him in high school. Compare that to LeBron James, who's 6'9", 250 pounds. That's significantly leaner, significantly the ideal size for a player who has to put so many miles on his body.
Right.
He's young, Zion that is, and he's dealing with a lot. He's dealing with a lot of scandal in his personal life. He's injury prone. But with all that being said and all the negative news that was circling around his name, especially after taking that loss to the Lakers, Zion is averaging 22.9 points per game this year, 5.6 rebounds, 4.7 assists. He's tied for first in points on his team. He's first in rebounds and he's third in assists.
And that's what makes us say something. That's what makes us point it out. Like, look at you, guy. You're averaging 22 points a game. And you're completely out of shape. You hadn't invested in your body, none whatsoever. And, you got the pros that looking at him that's trying to get the best out of him. Because, see, Zion was supposed to be the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, remember, this was just like a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's only, I think, in his fourth year.
Like the next Wembyamba. Mind you, they on a 20-game losing streak, but we ain't gonna say nothing about that. But he was supposed to be the next thing, so that's why the expectation
is so high.
Is a little bit stricter on him. That's why the bar is a little harder on him.
Didn't everybody say it was going to be an issue when he was drafted to the Pelicans with the food out there?
Everybody said it.
Did.
Everybody
said
they
did. His issue is his weight has always been an issue.
But what I go ahead, Slim.
His weight has always been an issue.
Yeah.
His weight and his They trying to say his lack of commitment.
Yes, conditioning. Go ahead. Well, let me give you some numbers real quick here because I gave you the numbers and you threw your hands up like, hey man, the guy's balling, right? All right, and I'm not saying 22.9 is an average isn't impressive. I mean, he's tied for first with Ingram as far as the highest point scorer on the actual team. But Zion is really came out as a generational type talent.
Right.
He should be head and shoulders above everyone else on that actual team. And arguably right now you can say that Ingram is just as important or just as good, if not.
He's the third best player on his own team.
Who? Zion or Ingram?
Zion.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. And it's crazy that you can make that
Brandon
argument.
Ingram.
Yeah.
Then you got McCollum.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Zion. Third option.
Yeah, I mean, you that argument has been made. But although those numbers seem good, just being read off, across the board, his stats are worse than they've been since his rookie season. In the 21 season, he averaged 27 points per game. You know, he's at 22.9 now. In the 23 season, I think the 22 season he was hurt. The 23 season, he averaged 26 points per game. So right now he's at his lowest point average, 22.9. And I bring those stats up because a young player should be elevating his game early in his career. You haven't reached the point in your career where physically your body is starting to betray you and your averages should be going down. His averages should be going up, but he's going down. So he's trending down, and you're trending down too early in the actual season, and his play is inconsistent.
And he's doing nothing the team is asking of him.
Yeah, let me give you his point output for the last 6 games. The last 6 games, he scored 33 points, 12 points, 27 points, 10 points, 13 points, 36 points. I mean, there's wild swings. There's wild swings because he's inconsistent. And really, you know, I didn't look at this, but I would venture to say those points where the swings were down are back-to-back games. He's out of shape. He's breathing hard. And when your profession is to be in your peak physical condition and you're being paid the type of money he's being paid, you should actually stand up and actually make that a priority. And it just doesn't look like he's making it a priority now.
I don't know. It seems where I struggle with having understanding in this, I guess, in this situation is like he's not on the team by himself. So you have the actual team, I guess the heads of teams, you know, the people who run the teams as far as letting him know, the training staff of letting him know what he needs to do. But if that's not being done, then who's the next person in line to kind of make him, well, I guess he's a grown man, you can't make him do anything he doesn't want to do, but where's the accountability at? It's just like, okay, he has to have exactly. So I guess that's where I'm getting at. Yeah. It's just like, why isn't his teammates, you know, making this effort with him, or if they are, if we're not know about it.
To the point, though, to where everybody don't ask them. They even don't, you know, the reports, let me say it like they say, the team has even said, hey, man, you don't want to use our trainer, our nutritionist, go hire your own.
Yeah.
He still hadn't hired his own trainer, and he has no nutritionist. They say after the games, man, it be like chefs that's around New Orleans that be waiting on him after at the door at the locker room to like give him a card or give him a free invite to that restaurant. This is the report that they say that it be numerous chefs waiting to meet Zion after all home games.
Yeah, I heard Stephen A. Smith reporting and saying something to that effect also.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and let me tell you something else.
Man.
If everybody on the team is calling you a fat, never mind. I'm gonna leave it.
No, that's facts. I mean, but here's the thing, you know, maybe he can get it fixed. I really hope he can get it fixed. I mean, I think the Pelicans need to have Zion in order for them to actually make any serious noise in the actual West. But the biggest issue this weight is exposing Zion to and the team to, and we haven't mentioned it once this time, even though he is he is injury prone. Carrying all this extra weight exposes him to more injury. That's the biggest issue. It's not going to be a slow decline. Like, his points aren't going to continue to slowly digress. What's going to end up happening is he's going to have a catastrophic injury if he can't control his body and control the condition of his actual body.
He need to slow down on that boudin. He need to slow down on them crawfish during crawfish season. He need to slow down on the etouffee, the gumbo, the beignets, all that. Cut it out, Zion.
Hey, man,
out of line.
Much harder to do than a lot of people would think. Me
but
being
I'm
from
gonna
Louisiana.
say this too.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, they say stress. You know, when people stress, they gain weight.
That's what I said.
You know, he's been under a lot, like you said. You know, this past year has been very stressful for.
Yeah,
Zion.
he had one of the worst off seasons out there. Old girl,
the
baby mama situation. Then he had the young lady who was putting his business all out there, and he has to sit there, be quiet, take it. You know, she's exposing all his
everything.
His intimate preferences.
Yeah,
we're not trying to find the right way to put it out there. I mean, you know, that's a lot of things for a young player to deal with, especially when he has been injured and not really being able to give himself 100% to the actual team. So he's dealing with a lot. Stress does cause a lot, but the thing about it is, you know, people talking about his weight in the way that they've been talking about it isn't doing anything but adding more stress to him.
Man, what I would do, I would just go out there and ball out. I mean, the only way to shut up your haters is to, you know, do something about it. You know, prove them wrong in a sense. I mean, you're the number 1 draft pick. Go prove them wrong. You were a number 1 draft pick for a reason. You got it in you to, you know, get what you need to do to get it done, to get to where you need to be. So I say just get it done, and his teammates need to get around him and try and be a voice of reason, be a voice of clarity for him, and just help him get things done. And even if that means, you staying after practice and working out with him, or you going living with him for a couple weeks and helping him eat right and getting on him about the food choices. I mean, that's the type of friend I would be. But I mean, like, I don't know what type of relationships these teammates may have with each other. But I mean, if I'm seeing this, I see, the media talk about my teammate and I'm not liking the way it is, and I see that it's affecting him, his mental state, whatever he's got going on. I'm going to try and, jump in there and see what I can do to, lend a helping hand forcefully if I have to.
Yeah, we got a good comment here, and I kind of agree with what the gentleman's saying. He names himself as Bob. So, Bob, if you're listening, I appreciate the actual viewership and also appreciate you, joining in the conversation. Bob writes, let's not forget that his allure was the fact that he was that size and was still able to jump out of the gym. Mm-hmm. If his numbers pick up at that weight, these weight discussions will cease to exist. Just saying. You know what? You got a point. You know what I'm saying? If he could continue to carry his scoring and really improve his scoring at that size, people aren't going to say anything about it. But like I said, I think the main issue for me is, once again, he's declining. He scored 27 points per game in the 2021 season. He scored 26 points per game in the 2023 season. Right now, he's averaging 22.9 points per game. That's the lowest average he's had in the past 4 seasons. So he's declining. Yeah. I don't want to see him declining with all the potential talent that he has. He's a generational type freak athlete. And he can do more than that, and he could set himself aside as one of the greats. If he's just a solid role player, would that be a bad thing for him? It wouldn't be a bad thing, but I think it would be a lost opportunity. So I'm not saying 22.9 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 4.7 assists per game is anything to sneeze at. I just think that he has a significantly larger upside. And right now, his weight is hindering him from really achieving that upside.
I guess a question that I have now that I'm thinking about is his contract. When is his contract up, and how does this affect his contract with the Pelicans? Do they say F it and just move on from him, or do they continue to work on him so he's a good trading piece?
Yeah, you know what? I would hate to see.
We gotta restructure this thing.
Yeah, I don't want to see them give up on Zion.
You don't miss too many days at work, man. You don't miss too many days at work.
I don't think they'll give up on Zion. It's too early to give up on him. I think right now they're trying to have a come to Jesus moment with him. Hopefully he hears them. Hopefully he doesn't have a whole bunch of yes men in his corner. He has an agent and friends in his corner that want the best for him, and that they, like you said, move in and help him control that.
They look good when they playing together with him out there, bro.
Oh yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how everything plays. Let's go ahead and move to the next storyline here. The Lakers win the NBA Cup. Oh man, come on now. Hey, Slim, are you a Lakers fan? Are you a Lakers fan?
You know it.
Okay, what's your thoughts on the Lakers pulling off this historical championship?
It's only right. It's only right that our name be synonymous with the first ever in-tournament championship. We've been a part of everything else first in the NBA.
You know what, man?
Shout out to those Boston Celtics fans.
Yeah, I'm a Boston Celtics fan too. Look, Slim and I got opposite teams on everything.
Y'all got serious problems, bro. Y'all got serious problems.
Hey, we beat you to it. We can't take our name from this one. We the first.
Yeah, I got it.
So yeah, I feel like it's historic. The hoopla behind the banner and all that. It's the first ever.
Come on.
You don't have to do it after this, but this is the first time ever. The confetti got to drop.
Right.
This is the first time ever.
The thing about it is, it was a marketing scheme by the league. I think it definitely was a plus this year. I was paying attention to NBA basketball at a time of year where I never pay attention to NBA basketball. So I definitely think it did what it was supposed to do. The question I have, and also it looks like the players really wanted the money that was tied into it, associated with it, and they also wanted the historical factor as far as being the first to win the in-season tournament. But nobody wanted it more than LeBron James. Nobody wanted it more than LeBron.
I don't know.
James.
AD might have wanted it more with those numbers he put up.
AD had a great game, and that leads me to a question I have written down here. Do you think that the right Laker won the actual tournament MVP?
Well, it says tournament, so
it's not finals. It's tournament.
It's not finals. I mean, AD. They almost had to give it to LeBron because it's LeBron, but AD had a solid case for MVP. Like, AD was balling when he needed the ball during those in-season tournaments. I mean, he was getting like almost 14 to 15. Well, I say between 14 and 17 rebounds a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving you about 27 points a game. You know, he was pretty consistent when it came to those in-season tournament games. So I don't know. And then this final game, I mean, I think he was really trying to get for that go for that MVP. But I want to say he had 41 points and then 20 rebounds. You know, for that in-season for that championship game.
Yeah,
So,
championship came. AD went crazy. AD
insane.
when he's healthy and he's able to stay on the
He
actual
hoops.
floor, he is one of the best players in the actual league. For me, he's just I don't know if he's injury prone or if he's hurt prone. Because when you're injury prone. You just can't come back in when you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Injury mean that you're out because there's a medical, there's some kind of physical damage that your body needs to recuperate from. Sometimes he'll walk off the court or limp off the court as if it's an injury, and then he'll try back in whenever it's convenient, much quicker than it had for the injury to actually heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
So were you injured or were you hurt? A lot of time it seems like he's leaving the court when he's hurt, and that is kind of problematic for me.
He's inconsistent. He's just an inconsistent player. That's really what it is. I mean, if he worked on his consistency as a player, like I would rather AD give me, 25 a night than giving me 41 night, give me 7 another night. I'd rather you give me consistent numbers, that I can depend on and work around those numbers rather than having to deal with you give me a 40-point night, 20 rebound game. And then another night you give me 13 rebounds and 7 points and 2 blocks,
Slim, you had any opinion on the
That's just me,
Lakers winning the first NBA in-season tournament trophy?
Shout out to LeBron, though.
Slim, you there? Oh, we may have lost Slim. Let's keep going with the conversation.
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can hear you now, buddy. Are
hear
you
me?
there? Did you have any opinion that you'd like to add to the LeBron and the Lakers' first NBA
yes.
Cup?
Yeah, shout out to the Lakers again for being the first ever. But, I want to give you a shout-out for coming up with that new phrase, hurt prone. I think I heard that loud and clear. But, shout out to the Lakers, man. Well-deserved.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Does this NBA Cup in the MVP that came with the actual tournament, does that do anything for LeBron's personal legacy? Because I don't think it really does anything much for the Lakers' legacy. The Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, the Lakers don't even hang division or
we're gonna hang
banners
that
in the actual.
We're gonna hang that.
Oh, they're gonna
banner.
hang it.
It's gonna
They
be-
don't hang
it's
other
gonna be-
banners. The only
Yeah,
banners
they're
that I'm
gonna hang
aware
that
that they hang up is
Championship.
NBA championship banners.
Well,
So
that's a championship banner, but it's gonna be a different color.
okay, so they're gonna make an exception for this actual banner. That's pretty interesting
Yeah,
that they're
It's the
actually gonna put
like
it up
I
there.
said, it's the first ever,
Yes,
man.
history,
We gotta
you got to.
understand again.
Yeah.
We gotta quit trying to slight the first ever.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel that.
yeah.
I feel, and once again, the owners are like, we have to give this thing all the prestige and honor that we give everything else if we want it to be a real thing. Because although I think it made some moves and it was positive to the actual season, it's really going to take a couple more years before it really
It's
sticks.
going to take about 3 to 4 years.
So
Man, not for those LeBron fans. They just, he might be tired with MJ and Kobe right now for rings. Y'all better put that on mute.
Hey,
Can't be saying that. A lot of folks are saying LeBron has just got another ring. That counts just as well as the NBA championship. I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, but a lot of people trying to add that to LeBron's legacy, man.
let me ask you a
I
question.
don't think they.
What do you think? Do you agree with that statement?
A win is a win, man. It counts for something. It's a championship. It got it against professionals in the NBA.
What do you think?
So I ain't gonna
Definitely.
say it's up to an NBA championship, but bro, we won a championship.
It's
Kyle,
just
go
a,
ahead.
it's just a,
NBA.
it's just a different championship. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's not the highest accolade in the NBA, but it's
Well
an
said.
accolade in the NBA. So
Yeah.
you
It's
got to
definitely-
give it some respect.
You give
Well
it some
said.
respect. I think you give it some respect for the historical value of it, but it doesn't move him any closer to Jordan, in my opinion.
I think it's kind of like
Oh,
receiving like
goodness. We gonna know-
all
we know how
NBA
you-
I'm not going to go into that conversation yet. I know people always love to have the Jordan and the GOAT conversation. I'm
Okay,
not going to go
let's
on there
see
on this show. Maybe we'll put it in for the next show because we have been getting some heat for some of our viewers as far as some of our takes on that. And we will be opening up the phone lines today. So if anybody is watching and they would like to make a comment on anything that we're talking about right now or any other sports topic, toward the end of the show, we will be opening the phone lines up. So hang tight with us.
I think as far as LeBron, I don't know if you guys caught it in his actual speech where he was saying that the players asked, when will they receive their money if they did win, and he was just like, yeah, I didn't tell them, but I do know when they receive their money. So I think there might have been some inner workings with the actual NBA and the commissioner of like, hey, LeBron, if you push this initiative, you push this thing for us, there's going to be a little bit more back end for you
Gotcha.
on this NBA thing. So I think LeBron and like those heads of the of the NBA, like the leaders of the NBA, I think they were given extra incentives to kind of do this thing, because think about it, LeBron doesn't need $500,000. So
Absolutely not.
So what made him want to do that? I mean, yeah, it's history and LeBron likes to make history, but I would love to know, behind closed doors, exactly what were those conversations that were had with LeBron to make him buy into this.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do either you guys see the league naming the in-season tournament MVP trophy or the in-season tournament NBA Cup championship trophy after LeBron James?
That would be dope. I think it would.
Agreed.
I think it would be dope just because it's the first one.
Yeah.
And he was the one to do it. Him and AD and the Lakers were the first ones to do it. But I think that would be. I don't see why there would be any opposition to it.
Yeah, I think one of them. Go ahead, Slim.
LeBron's name is going to go down on something in the NBA.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. And Kobe also.
Yeah, if they don't change that logo. I mean, Kobe got didn't Kobe get the
Did they name something after him already?
wasn't it?
All-Star game. Was it the All-Star game trophy?
Yeah, it was it was something true.
Okay.
Because
MVP?
Larry
I don't know.
Bird
I'm
got
not
the
sure.
Eastern Conference. I think the Eastern Conference trophy, and
Or
then
was that Magic Johnson?
it might have been Magic Johnson who got it.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. I'll do the research, and when we come back to the next show, I'll have an answer on that particular subject. Let's go ahead and move forward to the next actual storyline. All right, next storyline here, we have Ja Morant. Ja Morant is set to return. Ja Morant went to his social media outlet to say that he's been cleared and he's going to be returning against the Pelicans on the 19th.
The gunslinger.
Yes, he'll be back. You know what? I think that's big news. I think Ja Morant was really, really on a trajectory that a lot of us can't even understand. The way he plays the game, he plays it with some of the explosiveness that what's the point guard from the Chicago that played the Chicago?
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
He plays the game with the explosiveness of Derrick Rose, and thank God he was still healthy. Derrick Rose's career never really saw its full maturity because of injuries that he actually sustained. Ja Morant is out of the actual league, not playing right now, but it's not injury related. It's decision related. So he's going to come back still with his faculties. Hopefully he should come back in shape. What do you guys think? How big is this news for the actual NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies?
I think it's big news because they got to see if Ja comes back and he's able to become the face of the NBA again.
I don't know. I think that ship is sailed.
I don't think it has.
I don't know.
'Cause, I mean, you got to think. I mean, we're in a microwave news cycle where it's just like things may happen in the past, but I mean, like, yeah, it's not like he shot anybody. I mean, yeah, he was caught with those guns, but I mean, like a few years from now, I mean, think about it. You got Mike Vick who's on TV and he was caught with the dogs.
That's true. I'll take that.
So I mean, like it's all about, as I like to say, I mean, time heals all for most things, and this is one of those things where time will heal it. So I think there's just, if he comes out in balls and does what he needs to do, and he's a class act in a sense as far as NBA standards, I think he has he'll have a great return.
What I would say is this, and Slim, first of all, before I go into a rant here real quick, did you have any opinions on Ja Morant coming back? He's scheduled to come back on the 19th versus the Pelicans.
Big boy.
All right, let's go ahead and move forward. We may have lost Slim on the phone here.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's see here.
No.
So this is what we're gonna do. No, it's just to
Yeah,
get a
they're 6 and 16.
Hey.
6 and 16. They struggling without Ja, man. They need Ja.
Hey, Bob, real quick, just to go back to the LeBron story. Bob, we have not, I'm just seeing your comment, Bob states, so this is what we're going to do, start making up championships to get them closer to Kobe or Mike. Please be serious.
Can't do that.
Games, playoffs, you win, you get the championship. Simple. The cup is an accolade, but not an NBA championship. I agree. I mean, it's not an NBA championship, and I don't think anyone is trying to put it there. It is historical, and the only thing I'm saying is, we see where the cup is now. Let's see what people think about the cup 20 years from now.
Oh yeah.
And if the cup has a trajectory as because this is a spinoff or a takeoff from soccer that happens in Europe. In Europe, there's an entire full league, but there are these different accolades, as Bob stated, that are put out there for people to actually win throughout the actual season. So the NBA stole this from abroad, and they're trying to make it a thing here. And this is just the first step, so we'll see how far it goes. I do not think it changes LeBron's legacy, in my personal opinion. But you know, people are making an argument, and you stated that. All right. So real quick, back to Ja Morant. It's going to take some time for Ja Morant to get back in shape. I mean, he's been out a while, and I know he's been keeping his body in shape, but NBA shape and just, you know, training and trying to keep yourself in shape is two completely different shapes.
They said he's been practicing with the team.
It's possible, but once again, practice and game minutes are still different. There's a energy that can, you know, exhaust you pretty quickly. You could be in peak physical shape and you could have been practicing, but when you get around the lights, around the crowd, just your adrenaline starts to pump in a way, and it could take some energy out of you. So it's going to be a little bit different. But the Grizzlies need all the help they can get. They're currently 6-16. They're 13th in the West. Desmond Bane is averaging 24.8 points. Jaren Jackson is 20.8 points. So you got two players that are already averaging above 20 points. If Ja Morant can come in and add his point output without taking away points from any of the other players, that's going to increase the team's overall point output. Right now, they're ranked 29th in points per game at 106.5. If they can get that number up to 115, 120, it's going to make them a lot more competitive in the West, and then we'll see if they can actually do something. My fear is that when Ja Morant comes back, people start to defer to him.
Oh, yeah, that's
and when they start to
definitely
defer to him, you know, that's the issue. They need to speed up the game. They need more shots. They don't need to take shots away from any of these other players that's been scoring. They need to add more shots in the actual
So
game
increase
for the
their-
actual team. So they need to go up and down a little bit more.
increase their game speed is what you're saying.
But that's what Ja Morant does. Ja Morant plays fast. He goes up and down pretty quick. So I think it's going to be possible for them to increase their actual offensive output by getting more shots up
Quick
and going
buckets.
up and down the court a little bit quicker.
No, I definitely agree with you. If Ja Morant comes in and gets those quick buckets like he can, he gets those, he's on the defensive side of the ball where he gets those steals and gets those buckets. He won't have to take away from, other players' output because he's getting his points, through other means,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good idea. But as far as getting in shape, I don't think that's going to be an issue for Ja. Ja doesn't strike me as a person who's going to be difficult to get in shape. Like Ja just seems like one of those guys who just has energy just to have energy. Like when Ja plays, he kind of seems like it's kind of lackadaisical, where it just seems like it's just natural for him just to do what he does. So I don't think that'll be an issue as far as his speed and his his athletic ability to kind of keep up with the actual NBA game of basketball. I think more so my only concern was going to be the actual how he would flow with the team as it is now.
Yeah.
But when I looked at reports and the team was saying, he's been practicing with the team to kind of, get in the flow of things, I think it's going to be just a plug and play system because I think the team is practicing like you run practices without Ja, right? But then you run practices with Ja in preparation for when Ja does come back. So you start increasing the practices that you have with Ja and start decreasing the practices that you have with everybody else. So in these days that we see, the Grizzlies are doing worse than what they have been doing in the past where Ja was first out, it may be because they have increased practices with Ja rather than decreasing practices without Ja.
I could see it.
You know?
I could see it happening. In addition to Ja Morant coming back, he's also in the news for one other issue, a little bit more salacious.
What do you do now?
Okay, did you hear about the fight that he had where he
No.
hit the 17-year-old teenager? He's in court for that right now.
No, did not hear that.
He's been testifying. Slim, are you aware of that trial? What's going on with him and the 17-year-old kid? His name was Joshua Holloway. He was a top basketball prospect. He was at Ja Morant's house. They were playing basketball together. Things got a little bit aggressive. I mean, it was pickup basketball, so they were kind of going after each other. I think from reports that I read, Holloway, was kind of getting the better of Ja Morant on a couple of things. And then ultimately, while checking the ball back and forth, Holloway checked the ball. This is Ja's testimony. Checked the ball, hit him with the ball. Ja Morant felt fearful, and Ja Morant plus one friend jumped Joshua Holloway, and they physically assaulted him. But Ja Morant is claiming self-defense. He's claiming that he was responding to aggression from Joshua Holloway, and they're in court for that.
He said squared off on him like he was ready to try something. He said Ja was like, "Where I'm from, that's a fighting mannerism."
Exactly, and that's what he.
I'm
That's
not
what he.
pressing
That's what
no
he did.
charges for nothing like that. Especially if I'm at your house. You have $1 million plus house. I'm not pressing charges against you over some pickup basketball because I'm beating you. If anything, we're gonna laugh about this later on. Like, come on, bro. This basketball.
Yeah. Well, once again, Ja wasn't the kid pressed charges.
Exactly. I think it's lame.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll see exactly how that all plays out. I mean, they are in court.
Is it a civil case?
It's
or
a civil case.
Oh,
if I'm
yeah,
not
it's a money
mistaken.
grab.
Yeah, he just wants the
I'm
money.
pretty,
It's
I'm
a
pretty
money
certain.
grab.
I'm pretty
Paid off.
certain it's a civil case.
It's a money
don't
grab.
quote me on that, but I think it's a civil
If it's a
case.
civil case, then it's a money grab. If it's either way, it's lame in my opinion. But yeah, I think it's very lame. It's pickup basketball, and you're winning, bro. Like if he got mad at you and punched you, it is what it is. Just take it. Just take it as it is. Like you were winning already. I mean, how much more do you need to win?
Hey, just imagine if he was playing with Desmond. What's his name?
Draymond?
Draymond is
Nah, I ain't gonna
still
lie.
laying people out.
Draymond, I might have to get a civil case for. I ain't gonna lie. I'd definitely sue Draymond for sure.
All right, real quick, man. Let's go to one of our last stories here. You know, you guys are very, very clear in your guys' affiliation when it comes to the Cowboys and the Eagles. So let's go ahead and talk about the Cowboys, winning the game against the Eagles. Slim, I know you're a big Cowboys fan. You have anything you want to stay on that? You want to start this conversation off? Oh, man, we keep losing Slim. What about you, man? I know your Eagles took a tough loss. What do you think?
Yeah, my Eagles took a tough loss, but, I mean, how can you win if your quarterback can't produce any TDs, can't produce any points? I think that was my only concern. And then, he was under 200 passing yards. And then, if you make 27 passing attempts and 23 of those passing attempts are to two of your main players, you're not spreading the ball around enough. Like I say every week when we're here about spreading the ball around, getting the offense involved, getting other players involved. Like I was saying about Pat Mahomes, you got to pass to other players so the defense doesn't understand what's coming or can't predict what you're doing. But, I mean, if you're 13 passes to AJ and 11 passes to Smith, I mean, your offense we know what you're doing. I mean, we know how to cover for that. I mean, AJ had 9 receptions with, I want to say it was 92 or 94 receiving yards. And then Smith I think he had like 50
Ron, I love
yards.
to hear him squirm.
Hey man, it ain't squirming. I'm just giving you a breakdown of what happened. So you can't do anything about that, man.
I told you last week I smelled eagle meat. I told you last week I smelled eagle meat.
Hey.
There's something with the eye test going on with the Eagles, man. But I tell you, I also smell a scent around these Dallas Cowboys right now that's reminding me of 1992 to 1995, where they went in and won the NFC and then won the what? The Super Bowl, America. You hear me? The Cowboys going to the Super Bowl.
Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. You heard it here first.
Was that over 30 years ago?
So listen. Here's what I wanted to point out. Dak outplayed Jalen. Let's go ahead and put that out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dak had 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen only had 197 yards, no TDs. All season, we've been talking about Jalen Hurts as being under control, not trying to overdo things because he has so much talent around him with the Eagles. This is the first time where clearly the talent around him wasn't stepping up, and I thought that Jalen Hurts at that point, okay, I know you hadn't had to step up all year, but right now it's the time that we need Jalen Hurts to do something special, and it just never came across. And against a rival like the Eagles, if there was ever a time for him to step up and do something special, especially considering the fact that the Eagles showed him the money, for lack of a better word, 5 years, $255 million. That was the game that I thought he would actually step up, especially when the team seemed like they were struggling to actually, stay hang with the Cowboys, and he never did. Slim, you're right. Last week we both said the same thing. I felt like the Cowboys were in a better position and we're going to win this game, and we said it on air yesterday at the actual show. And so I wasn't surprised. I was surprised, however, that it never really seemed like Jalen Hurts tried to take it to the next level. That's just my take on it. I don't know if I'm way off there, but that's just kind of how I feel.
I don't think you're off, but I think Jalen did what he did what he needed to do when he won the first game in Philadelphia. I don't think any Eagle fan really expected them to win this game. I mean, I wasn't expecting it.
Goodness.
I told you. I literally said last week. I said I don't know about this game. I do not know about this game.
They just don't just give a game away.
My thing is, the Eagles know. We know what our schedule looks like for the rest of the year.
Man, the Eagles don't gave up 30 points in 3 straight games.
Hey, let me tell you something. The Cowboys right now, they're peaking at the right time. With 4 games left in the actual season, the Cowboys are currently on a 5-game win streak, and the Eagles are slumping at the worst time. They lost a second game back-to-back. They only have 3 losses all season. It just so happens the last 2 are the last 2 games they've played. This would be considered a slump. When you were 10-1 and now you're 10-3, that's slump.
But these are the toughest teams that they played. And that first loss that they took was to the Jets, and we weren't expecting that loss. But I mean, San Fran has one of the toughest defense, and their offense is clicking. And then you have Dallas.
quality opponents. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't lose. They haven't lost to bums, but the Eagles themselves, if they're going to go and go back to the actual Super Bowl, they need to be able to win against quality opponents.
I think what happens here, closing out the rest of the season, I think the Eagles at worst go 3-1 with these last 4 games. Because I think for some reason I just think we're going to lose to the Giants one of those 2 games. I'm pretty sure we might lose this first game. But that's just my opinion. I just know how the Eagles are when they match up against the Giants or these lower rated teams. They just kind of choke for some reason. So I expect a 3-1 finish. But as far as the playoffs, the Eagles know what's at stake. You know, the Eagles, they've been to the Super Bowl last year. You know, so they know what to expect. They know what they need to do. They feel like there's unfinished business. This Dallas game, it was kind of one of those games where it's just like, okay, we already got the better of them the first game, the first game in Philly. So this game is just like, okay, we're in Dallas. Yeah, we want to win this game, but is it really that pressing that we win this game?
Let me say this, Rod. Let me say this. You hear that sentiment and that sound of defeat in them. if you look at the overall record, we used to beat Philadelphia. So that sound that you hear out of Cal is the sound of defeat.
Hey,
listen. Historic defeat. We've been whooping them for years. The overall record, I think, is what is it? What's our overall
y'all
record?
Y'all 10-3. Oh yeah, well, you talking about between the two teams? Oh, okay.
We're 73 and 56 overall. I asked Google, there it is. I said, Google, who's better? They said the Cowboys.
Wild.
They said the Cowboys. Postseason, we 3-1. Regular season, 70 and 55. We used to whooping our ass.
Hey, real quick, we got a couple more comments that I want to acknowledge. Bob is back on. Bob says the offensive line, though, Dak is trying to take the best of Tony Romo and get rid of the worst. No full Tony Romo impression. Defense is on point, too. And he's not really a big Cowboy fan, but he recognizes what's going on there. That's a good comment.
Oh, I like that guy. I like Bob. Shout out to Bob. He know what he's saying.
Yes,
he know what he's saying when he's watching them Cowboys.
Yeah. Virgil Kane also watching from Manchester, England. What's up, brother? I know, the NFL makes a couple trips over the pond every year to kind of try to spread the actual game of football. While I know we're not really a high priority on the overall sports landscape out there in England, it's good to know that some people are paying attention to the actual league. Appreciate your viewership.
Shout out to you. Did you say Manchester, England?
Yeah, Manchester.
Yeah. Wow. That's epic.
Let's go ahead and go to our last actual topic here. And this right here is just kind of talking about some of the games and some of the best teams in the actual league right now. Just general conversation. We're going to take a week or two off for the actual holidays, so we may not be back on until January.
January 3rd.
We'll definitely put a promo out there when we get ready to come back on for our next show. But in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of good games. Now, I don't have the NFC South leader up there. Okay. The NFC South leader is the Bucks. Who cares about the Bucks? The Bucks suck. I mean, they're 6-7. Yeah, they're leading the NFC South. They're tied with the Falcons and the Saints. But right now, I really don't think anyone coming out of the NFC South is a real contender for winning anything in actual playoffs. So as far as team logos there, the team logos that are present on the screen, in my personal opinion, are the team logos of the best talent that's currently out there in the league. I hope I didn't miss anyone in this kind of room.
We didn't put on there that we do have to discuss is that controversial call with Pat Mahomes.
It wasn't controversial. The guy was standing on the line.
In his opinion.
It wasn't controversial.
In his opinion.
That wasn't controversial at all. I thought it was clearly he was standing on the line.
Right. He's been getting a lot of flack for that. Like, people are calling him like a bonehead for even, whining like a baby after, signing a $500 million contract. And after you've beaten the Bills multiple times and the Bills actually come out and beat you and, you're called for a flag, that people think that I guess it's bad timing for him to be complaining about something of that nature.
But that was a clear call. Now, they may want to change the way the call is made, because right now when a player commits an offside penalty, they will allow the play to continue. It was mentioned that maybe the league will want to consider just blowing the play dead and stopping the play from continuing. But on the offensive, if you do that, are you just going to do that on the deep so when the offensive player is lined up in the neutral zone, they stop the play. But when a defensive player is lined up in the neutral zone, stopping the play is actually a detriment to the offense, because they could have the matchup that they want. It will be an easy way for the defense to stop a play really quick if they see that they're mismatched or they don't have the right defensive call. So you have to keep that in mind.
Oh, true.
If you stop the play and you don't let the play continue or allow the play to play out, you have to decide because it can't be the same. You can't
Right.
stop it on both sides because it actually will hurt the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as games that I'm really gonna want to talk about whenever we finally do come back, the Cowboys has to play the Dolphins. That's going to be a great game. The Cowboys have to play the Lions, and the Cowboys have to play the Bills. So in order, it's going to be the Bills, Dolphins, and Lions. Those are going to be 3 tough games.
How
for the
many of those
Cowboys.
games do y'all win?
Oh man,
all
I'm
isn't
thinking.
an option.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this: it's a test for the Cowboys, not for America, but for us, for ourselves, to see who we are. It's a gauntlet test for us right now. We're peaking, we're playing good. So these next 3 games is gonna basically show us who we are.
Yeah.
So I feel good going into them, and how I look going against them right now. I'm going with the Cowboys, man, against all odds.
All right, give me the record. It's 4 games: 3-1, 2-2, 1-3. What do you think? How are they going to end up after those 4 games?
My heart 4-0. No. That's being real. I'm gonna say 2-2.
2-2. I think 2-2 is a fair assessment.
Who you losing to? The Lions and the Bills?
I'm saying the Bills. The Bills are playing. The Bills are waking up, man. Josh Allen right now. Once they get Stephon Diggs back in there, it's gonna be tough. And I think that Lions game is gonna be a great game too.
I think if your front four can get a hold of Josh Allen, I think you can win out that game, because I don't think the Bills defense has anything for your offense, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Cowboys can do. But once again, this is the time right here for all the Cowboys fans out there. Are the Cowboys fans going to be going into the playoffs, on a high note, or are they going to be limping into the playoffs? If they can go into the playoffs on a high note, then they may be able to make some noise. If they limp into the playoffs, then they're not going to be in the playoffs long. So these 4 games really matter for the Cowboys, in my opinion.
Agreed.
The 49ers, they faced the Cardinals, the Ravens, Commanders, and Rams to finish out the actual regular season. Of those 4 teams, I mean, the Rams concern me. Obviously, I'm not the Rams. I'm sorry. The Ravens concern me. Obviously, the Ravens are playing very, very well. I think the 49ers will end up at the very worst case scenario 3-1 out of those 4 teams. I mean, the Ravens is going to be a great game.
Mm-hmm.
That Ravens 49ers game is definitely going to be one that I'm be excited to talk about whenever we come back.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions, they play the Broncos, the Vikings, the Cowboys, and then the Vikings again. Those are going to be good games.
The Vikings got Josh Dobbs, so Josh.
Yeah,
Dobbs.
I'm going with Bob. For Cowboy Nation, we're going 3-1.
In the comments.
Bob only lost to the Dolphins. Surprise, surprise. Oh shit. Okay. Well, you know what? We'll see. I'm gonna put Bob down
Hey,
here.
man, it's something about this Cowboy team. If you're watching them, man, it's something about them, man.
I'm putting my notes down there. Bob said 3-1. I'm gonna see if Bob right if Bob gonna step up
Bob,
and come back here on January 3rd
January
see
3rd.
exactly how if he came right with that prediction. All right, the Lions got the Broncos, the Vikings, the Cowboys, and the Vikings. Yeah, the Lions, they're limping as well, but 2-2 maybe. They go 2-2. I think that'd be good for the Lions. The Dolphins got the Jets, the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills. The Dolphins got a tough lineup.
Jeez.
I mean, the Jets just got a nice win. I think the Jets just beat Texas. Am I right? The Texans.
Yes.
And then they got to face the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills. Remember, early in the season, the Dolphins had a really, really good record. But when we look closely at the record, it looked like fool's goals because they had beat a whole bunch of bad teams. Now they find themselves at the end of the season having to play some really, really good teams. The Dolphins could easily be 1-3 at the end of this.
Definitely, because Tyreek just got hurt in that last game that they played, and he was kind of nursing that ankle a little bit. So if he doesn't figure that out by at least this next game or the game after, then they're pretty much cooked.
Yeah,
because Tyreek is pretty much that team.
Yeah, they could easily be 1-3. So we'll see. You have a prediction of what the Dolphins are going to finish that last 4 games at, Slim?
Oh man, they're gonna go under 500. I think they're gonna be exposed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm calling 1-3 on that.
It's a big test for those 3 teams, like you said, for Buffalo, the Cowboys, and the Dolphins. These next 4 weeks are huge for all 3 of those teams. We're gonna know exactly who they are at the end of this.
Yeah, the Chiefs as well. The Chiefs have to play, but I think the Chiefs has the easiest route as far as the end of the season. They have the Patriots, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Chargers. I mean, I like that. I could see the Chiefs going 4-0 and really surging into the actual playoffs.
I think Pat Mahomes, he's playing angry now.
Yeah, he's angry.
I think we always seen happy Pat, but now it's looking like.
But at some point, his receivers got to be like, they got to get right, man. They got to get right.
I agree.
It's every week is something with his receiver. This week it was another mental area.
We'll see what happens there. The Ravens have the Jags, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Steelers. 2-2, maybe.
Yeah.
Even though the Jags are leading their division, the 49ers obviously are leading their division as well as the Dolphins. But the Ravens are playing great. I mean, the Ravens are also tied with the best record in the league right now, 10-3. Say that one more time.
Ravens playing pretty good football, man.
Yeah.
OBJ back.
Yeah. They were playing great football, and they look really, really good. The eye test, like you talked about earlier, the eye test looked really good for the Ravens and the skill players. I mean, the Jags, Dolphins, and 49ers are all divisional leaders, but once again, so are the Ravens. So, and if you're gonna go into the actual playoffs and make some noise, you have to be playing at a level where you can actually beat good teams. So this is gonna prove a lot for them. I think I can see them going 2-2, and I don't think that would be bad. If they did 3-1, I would be extremely impressed. If they did anything less than 2-2, I would be kind of disappointed in them. So hopefully they can pull it off. And finally, we'll talk about the Jags here. The Jags are going to be playing the Ravens, the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Titans. They'll be 3-1. I think the Ravens are going to get the best of the Jags, but I think they'll beat the Bucks, Panthers, and Titans pretty easily. All right, Slim, let me go ahead and drop you off the line here, brother. I really appreciate you getting on for us. We're going to get back with you next for the next show. I'll be following up with you, and we'll definitely get you on the actual schedule. All right, brother? I appreciate your insight, man. You got anything you want to leave the people with?
Man, I really enjoyed y'all, man. Happy holidays to you both. Be careful. And I appreciate it.
Outstanding, man. Good talking to you. All right, real quick, for anyone watching, they may have something they want to actually talk about. We have the phone lines now open for you guys to call in. Give us a call at 281-942-7433. That's 281-942-7433. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you and talk a little sports. 281-942-7433. We'll leave the phone lines open for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be signing off shortly. Man, I think it was a good show. I thought we had a lot of good information come across, and I appreciate the actual feedback we're getting from people that's actually paying attention. Bob says 3-1, only lost to the Dolphins. Okay, that was him talking about the actual Cowboys. All right. But, yeah, we'll leave the phone lines open just for a few more minutes. To see if anybody actually joins in with any commentary on any of the actual things we've talked about or any other sports topic they would like to talk about.
Yeah, I think we got some good football coming up. I think these last 4 weeks are definitely going to be crucial weeks for all these teams. So I'd just like to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I'm interested to also see exactly if the NBA players still play with the same energy that they've been playing with all season, considering that the in-season tournament is done.
I don't know.
Are they going to continue to keep up that same level of competition? That's what I want to see.
I think they might take a break. I mean, we're going into the holiday season. The only time I may see them pick it back up is maybe trying to get into this All-Star playoff. I mean, try and get into the All-Star week, try to make that team. But, I mean, I don't know when they start looking at that unless it's like, overall as far as as far as your averages based on from the beginning of the year. I don't know if it's a certain window of time where they start looking at that. But, yeah. I think that would be the only other thing that would kind of increase play for people is them trying to get into being an all-star.
All right, 10-4, we'll see. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We really appreciate you guys tuning in with us yet again. Have a great holiday season. We out. Man, let's see. Can I get it going? Oh, crap. And it don't want to work now. Let's see.
That's all good.
Oh, you know what?
Happy holidays to you all.
I know what it is. There we go. And let's go.
Chick, I hear you talking opinions, but where your facts at? I think it's time that we pull up and do a fact check. Hung again, we calling you to the circle. I'm tired of hearing the bull. I'm questioning your discernment, yeah. Like how you question the people that's really earned it, the people that's really working. Type of stuff for the circus.